Interest, anyone? And approval of agenda, any additions or deletions? So I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda as is. Moved by Councillor Cleveland, second by Councillor Barry. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. So we have two orders of business. We're at a public hearing. So what happens this evening for our benefit and for the benefit of the public that's here is I will ask 3 times if anybody would like to speak one issue at a time. And you can certainly, if anybody here wants to speak to the issue, you can come up to the microphone. You'll just tell us your name and where you reside, and you can bring your concerns or any comments that you have to us. And council doesn't discuss the issue until the regular council meeting later this evening. So I will go ahead and, is it on, Jeff? We're good? Okay. So the first order of business, to consider and if deemed advisable, to amend the land use bylaw to permit the establishment of a microbrewery at 270 Main Street as outlined in the planner's report. And I will say this to that one first. This, I don't believe that's the location anymore, but this is not site specific, it's zone specific. So it's to, it'll be the C1 zone. So to consider the microbrewery in the C1 zone. So I'll ask 3 times. So would anybody like to speak to this issue? I'm watching down back there. Does anybody like to speak to this issue? And the third and final, would anyone like to speak to this issue? Okay, hearing no one, well, this will be on the agenda for the council meeting. Number 2, to consider and if deemed advisable, amend the land use bylaw to rezone the town-owned property located at 28 Jarvis Road from CD, comprehensive development, to O1, open space, as outlined in the planner's report. Would anyone like to speak to this one? Come right up. And just for the record, Dick, you just tell us your name and where you live and...
Yes, my name is Dick Stewart. I live in Stan Beach. In fact, the town line goes right through my front lawn. But I own all the land that is opposite the proposed dog park on Jarvis Lane. So I guess one of my problems is they stated in the letter that you had consultation with all the people in the area. And then you had a meeting in the town hall with all interested people. The meeting that was held in the area, there was 100% people against the proposed, they were all the local people that abut the proposed dog park. They were all against it. There was nobody for it. My wife went around and knocked door to door, and we have a signed petition by the householders and the residents that abut the park, and none of those were for it. You know, besides buying the land, I see where I've spent $8,653 on sewer to upgrade, so the land would be developable. And with this change, you put a dog park across from residential property, it ruins it as far as any value goes. Now the people, they make a big thing about the public participation process was overwhelmingly positive. But they were from Argyle and up in the north end. There's no skin off their nose. They have a dog park across from their land. If I owned just a piece of it, I wouldn't complain. But I own the whole bit, 512 feet on that opposite on Jarvis Lane. And I don't think it's fair that you change the zoning to accommodate something that's going to probably smell and stink and have dogs run all over the place. So this is, I think I have a legitimate concern being the only property that's across from the whole park. And I'd like to I hope that you take this into consideration when you make your decision. So far, the local residents have had when they had the meeting, we were just brushed aside because all the dog lovers were from all over the area were for it. And of course, I don't care if you want to put a dog park in Argyle or up in the North End. So I think the zoning should stay the way it was when we purchased the property and when we paid for the sewer and water to develop it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak to this?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councillors. My name is Paul Trask. I am the chairman of the Dog Park Committee. I do live in the town of Yarmouth on Chester Street. I believe during the process, which was part of the town's doing, there was a general consensus that everybody wanted a dog park. And if I can draw on Morris for a second, there was only one person that had concerns that brought them forward to you.
To me, yes, but I wasn't involved in the previous meeting, George.
Okay.
And those concerns,
The only one that contacted since I've been involved, yes.
and I believe that concern was he lives right next to the dog park and was concerned that natural wildlife wouldn't be able to enter or egress his property, which is why we've set the 25-meter buffer from any of our fences to the outside area of the town property. As far as noise, it's going to be a daylight operation. Nobody's going to be there in the middle of the night with a dog barking. Going to be responsible owners. They're going to pick up. I don't know what we're referring to with noise, smell, everything else. I personally have no problem with it. I personally have no problem with having a dog park next to my house. That's all I'd like to say.
Good, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this?
For the record, Your Worship, I declared a conflict. Dick's a client of mine. So.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, and I'll ask one more time. Anyone else like to speak to this? Okay, hearing no one, this will be added to the agenda for this evening as well. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn the public hearing. Thank you. And a motion to go, we're going to go in camera. No, we'll call the council meeting, okay? I'm just going to call the council meeting now so that we can go in camera, okay? So a record of attendance, Linda, you have that. Declarations of conflict of interest, you won't know that till we get in there.
Motion we go on camera, Your Worship?
Thank you. Okay.